All right, we're recording. And I'm going to share my screen. Alrighty. Can you all see that first slide?
Yes, nature awareness and eco-adventure education.
Exactly. All right, thank you. Cool. Let's get started. So my name's Kirsten. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I've been with adventure programs for about 4 years now. I've just graduated those, so this is probably the end of my AP career.
What? Sorry, I should move.
It's all right. I'd like to start off by acknowledging that we are fortunate to be able to study and work on the unceded traditional and ancestral territory of the Chumash people. Much of the knowledge that I share in these workshops comes from traditional ecological knowledge preserved and passed down through thousands of years by Indigenous peoples. I hope that this presentation can do justice to that tradition of sharing knowledge about how to live off and protect the land, while also acknowledging that the past and the present original inhabitants of this land have been irrevocably harmed by those who arrived on their territory. I realize that these are just words, but I hope that these words can create awareness and be a step towards future change. All right, so today's workshop has the somewhat graphic name of Poo and Periods, also known as a backcountry vagina-inspired chat. The purpose of this workshop is to learn more about how to stay healthy and care for oneself in the outdoors, as well as how to help others out. This workshop is for anyone of any sex or gender, because everyone urinates and defecates, but when you don't have, even if you don't have a vagina, you might know someone who does. One of my bosses at adventure programs participated in a workshop called Backcountry Vagina a couple years ago and was inspired by that talk, so he asked me to teach a version of this class, my own version of this class, I guess a couple years ago now, to help train new adventure program staff. I've also written a blog about this and made it a little bit more all-inclusive, so it's not just about vaginas. Much of the information I share comes from personal experience, and some comes from Leave No Trace classes that I've taught. And I'm a longtime backpacker, so a lot of this is like I've practiced in real life. Please feel free to type any comments, questions, or concerns in the chat. And if I ask you to turn your mics on, you're also welcome to share verbally. I want this to be a safe place to learn and share, so please be respectful of each other and speak up if you feel that something that was said made you uncomfortable. All right, so our first participatory part of the day, what do you want to take away from today's workshop? You can share in the chat, you can turn your mic on. And if you had any questions before we started, you're welcome to ask them now.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and answer this. So, what do I want to take away from today's workshop? I mean, honestly, hopefully I take away everything, but some of the biggest things that I definitely want to focus on is, how to sort of do these things ethically, like, through leave no trace principles, and then also just educate myself on people, who have vulvas, so that I can like better help those who have never been backpacking to deal with that sort of thing, if that comes up, because I personally don't have to experience that, but if I want to be able to like assist those who may not know how to deal with that sort of thing while we're out camping, because I'm actually going to be going on a backpacking trip pretty soon with my girlfriend, so this is some good information.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. That's an awesome couple reasons to participate. Andrea, I know you just arrived. If you are interested in sharing, I'm asking what you all are looking to take away from today's workshop. And also, if you had any questions before we even started, you're welcome to type it in the chat or say it out loud.
Yeah, hi, sorry, I'm trying to join on my computer actually right now, but No questions in particular. I was just hoping, I don't really have that much backpacking experience, so I was just hoping to learn a little more from this. That's about it.
All right, awesome. Thanks for coming. Caitlin, do you want to share anything, or are you good?
Yeah, I'm most curious about how to deal with periods while backpacking.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Guess who deals with periods while backpacking? All right, well, thanks, you three. I will keep moving. All right, my first real slide is about taboos. So we're going to be talking about some topics that are traditionally taboo, but that are also super necessary for us to be able to talk about as guides and outdoors people. We want to make ins and outs a part of our dialogues with our friends and participants when in the outdoors. People with vaginas, some of this probably isn't new to you. For people without vaginas, this presentation can help you understand what your friends, partners, and other people you are taking outdoors are going through as they navigate having a vagina in nature. There's also plenty of talk that is relevant to all genitalia, so don't worry, there's something here for everyone. Unfortunately for you all, or perhaps fortunately, depending on what kind of people you are, we won't have a chance to do some of the activities that I had the trainees do when I taught this class in person. As a starting game, the first time I taught this, I had them play basically the penis game in front of everyone that was at our recreation gym area. Well, we actually played the vagina game, but same premise. Basically, you choose a taboo word and go around and around a circle saying that word louder and louder and louder until you're shouting at the top of your lungs. We're pretty sure the entire campus could hear us, but it was a lot of fun. The importance of a game like that is to make people more comfortable using some of those taboo words. If you can't even say the word, how are you going to communicate that you're having issues with that body part? Also, the more you know about your own body and the bodies of others, the more you can understand what is wrong and why. Debunking some common myths. Before we really get into it, I think it would be important to debunk some common myths that are relevant to this talk. Some of you will right off the bat know how absurd these myths are, and others of you might fall into the group of people who have been misled. Okay, so my first one for you. Tampons do not make you lose your virginity. Fun fact. Bears are not attracted to menstruation. They only want your food. People cannot decide when or where or how they have their periods, although some hormonal birth controls can give you a measure of control over the when or why or how. You can get pregnant while on your period, so if you're looking for some backcountry fun, make sure to use protection. People's periods can sync up, although there's some it's like the period itself doesn't sync up, but your hormones can affect each other. So I guess the syncing term is maybe the wrong word. There are male birth controls, but because of complaints over side effects, which are no worse than the side effects that females usually have when taking birth control, they aren't very popular. And people who identify as male may have periods, and people who identify as females may not. Don't assume anything. Did any of these surprise anyone?
Well, I guess the bears being not attracted to it, I didn't know that for sure, so it's good to know.
David, I could see you looking amused or something.
Yeah, what the hell? I didn't know you could get pregnant on your period. That's fucking crazy. Oh, sorry, that's crazy. and the male birth control, I also didn't know that was a thing, and that sounds awesome, and I definitely would want to do that because I had when you say that, do you mean like a pill or something like that?
Yeah, so I think there's hormonal pills. And then of course there is the reversible vasectomy, whereas females cannot reverse what's the one
getting their tubes tied or something?
Yeah, it's actually burning them shut, I believe, in women.
What?
You can't undo that. But with male vasectomies, you can undo it, and it doesn't harm you at all. It doesn't harm your reproductive ability in the long run.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, but no, those definitely surprised me.
Thanks for sharing. I don't know if you wanted to share something, Andrea. I know you turned your camera on, but if you don't worry about it.
Yeah, I thought I think some vasectomies aren't reversible, or like they aren't always reversible, I think was my understanding. But
there might be different types, but I know that there's at least one type, I think one of the more common ones, that is reversible. Yeah, so thank you. Alrighty. Leave no trace, also known as LNT, is an international system of interacting with the natural environment in ways that retain the cleanliness and health of local ecosystems. I know that David kind of mentioned he was interested in the leave no trace side of things. This workshop only really covers a small portion of their teachings that's directly related to human waste management. Why do we need to dispose of poo properly? We need to properly dispose of feces for several reasons. It's full of bacteria and can easily contaminate water supplies. Giardia and Cryptosporidium are some of the nastier GI problems and more common problems that you can contract from contaminated water and food, and could actually kill you from dehydration if you get stuck in the backcountry without a way to get into town to get medical treatment, and also if you don't have access to water, or clean water, sorry. So human, as well as pet dog feces, is also full of chemicals, microplastics, and other products that are absolutely not meant to be entering natural ecosystems. Even if you ate an all organic, only plant diet, the plants you are eating are unlikely to be native to the area you are in, and therefore you could be leaving seeds behind that shouldn't be there. How to dispose of poo and period waste properly. So there are several different ways to dispose of these things. This is specifically what comes out of your body, not like used tampons or toilet paper or wet wipes and stuff like that. So your best option is always using an outhouse if it exists. Considering leave no trace, you don't want, the outhouse is there so that you're not leaving a mess outside, basically. And usually where outhouses exist, you're in an area where there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people all the time. And if they were all going out to dig holes or just pooping on the ground or doing whatever, it would be really disgusting and probably just destroy the environment. So definitely use the pit toilet or composting toilet that's available to you. And these toilets are kind of just like a huge hole in the ground that will fill up with human waste and then be buried. And then when that's full and finished, they dig another hole. But there's usually like a toilet shape on top of it if you want to sit, or you don't like the idea of actually pooping in a hole. It's very difficult and very necessary. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I wrote there. It's very necessary that we don't throw trash into toilets like that, because rangers have to clean the trash out because it won't compost properly if you throw like water bottles and non-disposable wet wipes and stuff like that. It's really bad. So, be respectful. Don't make some poor person go dig through your poop. Okay, now if there is not a toilet anywhere nearby, according to leave no trace rules, hygiene, health, safety, and common sense, as well as common courtesy rules, for any ins and outs, you should be at least 200 feet, which is about 70 adult paces, from trails, campsites, and waterways. All y'all who like to pee while standing on the trail, please do not. I have 3 options for you for when you don't have an outhouse or a pit toilet, etc., to use the restroom in. You can dig a cat hole, which is basically like a small hole that's 6 to 8 inches deep. You usually try to find a sunny location with about 6 to 8 inches of organic soil matter above the rock layer. Yeah, so the the sunny location, as well as that like organic layer of soil that has a lot of bacteria and decomposers in it, that'll really help decompose the poop quickly. In drier environments, that depth might change to 4 or 6 inches because there's less plant matter and more sun more often than not. Usually the trowel, a poop trowel that you would buy at a store like REI, that's got like measurement lines on it by the inch, or I guess if you bought it in Europe, maybe it'd be in centimeters, I don't know. But yeah, so you don't need to eyeball that hole, you can use your trowel. You're gonna hate this potentially, but one way that some people help decompose that poop and other products, other human byproducts more quickly is making something called poop soup. Basically, you add some water to the poop that you put in that cat hole, and you stir it with a stick to help break it up. I'm watching all your faces, sorry. I've never done it because it's absolutely horrifying in my opinion, but you know, leave no trace, man, leave no trace. Yeah, and so the reason you would want to poop in a cat hole, moving on to a less more graphic statement, the reason you want to do that is because animals are really, really attracted to like scent of poop, pee, and period blood. And so the deeper it is, the less likely it is that they will dig it up. But also, you kind of want to hide that smell from humans, and you don't want other humans to be stepping on it. You don't want to step on it on accident, right? Yeah, a friendly reminder to all of you, the trowel that you're using to dig your hole should never ever touch your poop. It is purely for digging purposes. If you accidentally miss the hole, or if you are the kind of person that likes to poop and then dig the hole, use a stick or a rock or a pine cone or something to push your poop into the hole. A second friendly reminder, there are literally people whose job it is to wander park areas digging up poorly buried piles of human poop and toilet paper. So please be respectful to them and others by taking care of your business properly. All right, my second option here that should be 200 feet from water, 200 feet from camp, 200 feet from trails, is dig a latrine. These are pretty similar to cat holes, but they're like a lot longer and usually used if you've got a really big group or you are going to be in an area for a really long time. And the way it goes, you kind of dig 6 to 8 inches down, but then multiple feet to the side in like a long trench sort of shape. Basically the way you do it, so you dig that hole and then the first person will poop on this end, bury their own poop, but there's still the other 3 feet of trench. And so you just kind of poop in a line down it. Sounds kind of gross, I know, but you know, dealing with poop in the backcountry kind of is gross. Okay, and the third option is to pack it out. We have a specific brand called Wag Bags, but there's also a way to make your own, and I'm sure there's other brands out there. But basically, you can poop in a bag that has a certain mixture of chemicals in it, and that will help neutralize the smell and the bacteria to make it more safe to handle and throw out later. You do this in anywhere that the local regulations tell you to, or places that are narrow canyons, narrow river corridors, coastal areas, frozen areas, and high altitude areas. You basically set up this bag by laying it out on the ground. Sometimes there's there's different, there's different brands, and so some of them have a little X marks the spot. Some of them have even a portable, almost shape to sit on, kind of as a toilet over the bag. But it's kind of up to you what you want to spend money on. You want to add water or urinate in that bag along with the poop to help mix it in so that the chemicals can neutralize your all the bacteria in your feces. We recommend that you put that then closed up wag bag into kind of a sealed Ziploc, a dry bag, or some sort of hard case container, just in case you like bump it into something so it doesn't break open in your bag. Some wag bags are reusable up to a certain weight or number of liters of waste matter, so that's fun. I know that adventure programs, when they do Mount Whitney, everybody has to carry out their poop, and they then at the end of the trip weigh their poop, and whoever had the largest, heaviest poop wins a prize. So, you know, if you want to join AP for that. Something interesting about wag bags, the disposal of them. So if you make your own kind of wag bag or pack it out bag, or if you are using a brand that doesn't have neutralizing chemicals in it, the disposal of that bag must be done only at designated sites where like biotoxic waste can be disposed. So things like feces, blood, and medical waste all fall under that category, because it's potentially harmful to human health, and you don't want to be harming like the person that collects the trash, right? Sometimes trails have designated places to drop these, and other times you're going to need to find a place for them. Wet tea bag, kitty litter, or crushed aspirin, is interestingly enough, can all be used to reduce and control odors when doing a pack it out sort of situation. Waste products that should be carried out regardless of whether you have to bag your poop are tampons and pads. These take up to 450 or more years to decompose. Wet wipes, even if they say they're compostable or they can be flushed, they cannot. And toilet paper, unless you dug a really, really nice cat hole. Do not burn these items. It takes extremely high temperatures to fully burn them, and any campfire you have could not possibly be hot enough or big enough to actually fully burn them. Also, burning toilet paper has been known to blow away and start forest fires, which, as all of us California people know, we do not need more of. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if all of you are from California. Some people live in places where fires aren't as big of an issue, but even then, it just doesn't seem like a risk you should take, because it could potentially, if you even started a small forest fire, you could harm yourself, others, animals, plants, you know, anything. Oh, I just saw your comment, Willem. Does the poop soup happen for individuals' poop or for the giant compostable holes? The poop soup is for individual people's holes. So you do that, you add water to the poop that you pooped into the hole, and you mix it up basically. The giant compostable pit toilets are, I think some of them involve some amount of work on like a ranger's part to mix, and some of them kind of just do their own thing. So it's possible that they do a poop soup equivalent, but I don't know that. Thanks for the question. Oh, I missed one. All right, using the facilitaries. Our first bodily function of the day is relevant to all people, regardless of genitalia. So we're going to start off with pooping. Something amusing that I learned in AP is the 5-star method. In the outdoor industry, we enjoy this method that allows us to bring up pooping, amongst other bodily functions, to our friends and participants in the outdoors to make sure that everyone is doing all right and actually performing all of the outs that they need to be doing. Basically, you rate your poop out of 5 stars based on a number of factors that are usually subjective and arbitrary. Some of the options that I have are up here. A 1-star poop, you know, you dug a good cat hole, and it was easy to dig in the soft ground. 2 stars, maybe you saw an animal, but they didn't see you. 3 stars, you found like a really good like angle to poop at, or, you know, depending on how you poop, if you use a tree, it was like the perfect tree or the perfect rock. 4 stars, you had an amazing view the whole time. And 5 stars, which is, I think, hilarious, you made eye contact with another human or animal that was also pooping. All right. So in person, I had my participants actually perform, not to actually poop in front of us, but like put themselves into a position that they like pooping in the outdoors in. Since we cannot do that easily because it's a visual activity, if you wanted to share your favorite position, if you had a name for it, or if you wanted to describe it, I'd love to hear what you've got for us. Otherwise, I can just share a couple amusing ones I found on the internet. Oh, and yeah, you can share in the chat, you can turn your mic on, or you can annotate. And to annotate, you basically just go to the top of your screen where there's a green strip that says cursor is sharing your screen. Press the down arrow, press next to more, I think, and then there should be a annotate button, and you can type in a text box. Slav squat. Squat, I believe. All right. Yeah, I mean, most of these are going to have a squatting position in them. Anyone else? Well, some funny ones I found on the internet. The crab walk, which, you know, basically you're going to put your hands behind you and your feet in front of you with your belly up towards the sky and kind of just like squat there, but you're using your hands for support. There's the fireman squat, standing straight up. Oh, that sounds not entirely possible. The fireman squat is basically you grab onto a skinny tree and lean back like you're going down a fire pole. The orangutan, I don't even know how to say that, the big orange monkey dude, you hold onto 2 separate trees and squat between them. The partner poop, I've had friends who've done it. I've never been brave enough. But basically, you grab hold of each other's hands and use each other's body weight as counterweights to like hold each other up while taking like mirrored poops. Another one, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say bad words on this, but the sit and shit. You find a tree to lean against or a log or rock to sit on and just lean back and poop. And finally, the Tarzan swing. You use a vine to get some lift. Honestly, maybe my least favorite next to the partner poop, but when I was in Chile, there was a pit toilet that was in such an odd, weird formation that the only way to use it was to use the rope that was dangling over the hole, and it was horrifying. All right, sorry, let me clear this screen. Thank you for sharing. I hope that sufficiently horrified you all. There we go. All right, options for cleaning up the back door. And by back door, I mean your butt. If you didn't catch that. You know, obviously there's always toilet paper. You just make sure you either carry it out or you bury it really well. If you don't feel like toilet paper is enough in the backcountry, there's always a wet wipe. These cannot be buried. They must be carried out with you. They will take like hundreds, maybe thousands of years to decompose because they're usually made of plastics. One that I find amusing and reasonable, and some of my friends just use some plant or some of my friends have used rocks or pine cones, which seem horrifying, but there's very soft leaves out there. Just make sure you know what you're picking up and you're not picking up poison oak or poison ivy. And the last one, I have one friend who uses the Backcountry bidet, and you basically, you wipe off with natural materials and then you sploosh yourself with soap and water, which just sounds horribly messy, but my friend's philosophy with this technique is if you got poop anywhere else on your body, you would immediately use soap and water to clean up. So why wouldn't you do that with your butt? Just make sure that all of these things are done at least 200 feet from water. All right, moving on to peeing. Peeing presents unique issues between people who have penises and those who have vaginas. Generally, people should avoid peeing on plants as it can kill them or attract animals who will eat them for the salt. But other than that, we have very different experiences. Correct me if I'm wrong, but most people that have penises kind of do the same thing in the toilet as they do when they pee outdoors, right? So I'm not going to focus too hard on that because for the most part, you kind of know what you're doing. But for people with vaginas, it gets a little more difficult. I found that there are many people who've never peed outside before, some of whom are like actually kind of scared to because they're not really sure how to do it. They don't want to pee on themselves, whatever the case is, which puts them at kind of a distinct disadvantage. So, some advice for vagina owners. Find a gentle slope and face uphill. Squat deeply with your feet wide apart. Make sure all your straps, clothes, and shoelaces are outside of the pee stream and splash zone. And make sure that you move your feet to avoid little flows on the ground. You can wipe or drip dry after that. Most people prefer to wipe so they don't drip everywhere and kind of get their clothing wet. But if you do wipe, make sure you go from front to back and only in the pee zone. You don't want to be spreading poop particles up front. That can be pretty harmful to your ecosystem down there. If you do end up drip drying, you should wash your clothing more often because that can also cause its own issues. Pee products for vagina owners. There are some awesome products created specifically for people with vaginas. The pee rag or Kula cloth, which is a brand that some people really like, is basically just a cloth, usually made of cotton, that you can use to wipe, and it's reusable, which some people find disgusting. But if you hang it on the back of your bag and you're in a sunny, dry place, the UV rays of the sun should do a really, really good job disinfecting. Solar UV rays are some of the most powerful disinfectants on Earth. The other product I have for you is the urination funnel. A good brand I've heard of is the Shiwi. You don't have to squat. You can actually pee standing up with these, which is pretty cool. Vaginas and periods. Vaginas generally present unique issues in everyday life, but those issues can really be exacerbated in the backcountry. People with vaginas have shorter urinary tracts and therefore are more susceptible to infections, so it makes keeping clean and knowing what's going on a lot more important. Again, wipe from front to back to keep fecal matter out of the vagina and urethra. You can use unscented cleaning towelettes, although remember that you do have to carry those out with you. Don't use scented ones. Those can be actually more harmful to your vagina and urethra, I guess. Vaginas have good bacteria, so we don't want to kill that. Avoid using soap and hand sanitizer in the vagina. If you do need to use avoid using soap and hand sanitizer inside of the vagina. Only use mild soaps when you clean the pubic area and labia. You don't want to be cleaning inside of you. Because like your vagina has its own way to clean itself. It's the outside parts that are more what you want to clean. And hand sanitizer obviously would feel horrible and burn a lot. Picture getting it in your eye, and that's probably kind of what it would feel like down there. Physical exertion, stress, or environmental change, like going out into the backcountry, can often cause a menstrual cycle to start prematurely or be skipped entirely. So just be prepared for changes to happen or potentially happen. Some period products and tools. There are a few tools we can use to stop ourselves from looking like a crime scene when Aunt Flo comes to visit. Aunt Flo, by the way, is your period. If you decide to use tampons, you have to carry out all applicators and the used cotton that you insert. These must be changed at least every 6 to 8 hours and involve a lot of like weighty plastic and cotton that's full of blood that you have to carry out. Always bring double the amount you think you could possibly need for the trip, and prepare for at least one heavier than normal cycle, because backcountry trips can really throw you out of whack. Pads, I think, are more difficult. They take up more space and are less comfortable. While hiking, they can cause chafing, and they're even more waste to carry out. There's something called period panties, which are pretty hard to clean when you don't have a washing machine, and they can only be really used for light periods. I've never tried it because it just seems like it would be very messy. There's menstrual cups, that middle picture there for you. They usually come in a little breathable cotton bag that you can hang on your backpack in the sun to sanitize with UV rays. There's so many different brands and sizes. You would really need to explore what was right for you, and you should ideally try it out on yourself before you go out into the woods, because it takes a lot of getting used to. These are a lot less waste and a lot less cost annually than traditional period products, although right off the bat, it's about a $40 investment. These will fill with your period blood, and you would have to dump that into the cat hole that you dig. But honestly, the best time to empty is before you poop anyway, so it's kind of a good opportunity. These you change less often, usually about every 12 hours. And finally, there's hormonal birth controls, which can be used to stop periods or reduce symptoms. If you are using the pill, sometimes you can avoid periods simply by not taking the placebo week. Depends on the person and the pill. For some people on the pill, you can lose your period altogether, or it can just cause even more like funky periods. Same with the implant. You can stop bleeding or bleed a lot. It's just, that's just kind of how it goes. And the IUD usually makes periods go away or much reduced, but it does make you crampier. Potential problems. Being in the wilderness can present situations that are more problematic when they happen far away from civilization. Some health problems related to your ins and outs are listed here. Dehydration. Being dehydrated can cause a lot of issues with the whole body system. Just drink water, drink all the time. The higher altitude you are, the more exercise you're getting, the more water you're gonna need. Another one, diarrhea. The biggest cause of this is feces to mouth transmission. So after you poop, wash your hands. Also, being on your period can cause diarrhea. Menstrual symptoms include cramps, the back and stomach, headaches, like I said, diarrhea, gassiness. It can make you sick to your stomach and make you vomit. I'm sure there's plenty of other symptoms as well. Some vaginal issues, problems that you can get, UTI. Symptoms of this are constant need to urinate, but unable to. Pain and burning while peeing when you are able to. And this can really only be treated by medications, unless they're very minor, which they'll go in on their own. Then there's something called vaginitis or yeast infections. The symptoms of this are itching, pain, kind of a weird cottage cheese discharge. Again, this can only be treated with medications unless it's very minor. To prevent all these problems I just listed for you, which are all not ideal, basically it comes down to water. Stay hydrated, pee regularly, wash your hands, clothes, and your pubic area, and keep it dry down there. Keeping it dry usually involves wickable and cotton clothing. Wickable clothing dries quickly, and cotton clothing lets more air through, but it doesn't dry very quickly. So keep that in mind if you do wear cotton. Okay, we had a couple minutes left. Some hygiene and health kits, kind of bringing everything we've talked about today altogether. Ideally, wash your hands before and after using the toilet or going to the bathroom outdoors, as a way to keep germs off yourself and others. Hand sanitizer is ideal unless you're going to be touching your mouth or vagina soon after, in which case there could be some issues with taste or it could hurt a lot. If you decide to use soap, use biodegradable soap and only a very small amount, at least 200 feet from water. Even if it says biodegradable, it's still not very good for the environment. For people with vaginas, switch between at least 2 pairs of underwear. Wash and let one dry while you're wearing the other. And again, your best bet are wick dry. Your toiletry kit, you see what I did there, should include several items. Toilet paper or wet wipes for pee, poo, and periods. A pee rag if you have a vagina and you don't want to be using as much toilet paper or you don't like drip dyeing. I would not recommend this if you're actively on your period because it gets kind of messy. You'll also need a poop trowel, or there's other options that are lighter weight to dig your poop holes. Again, hand sanitizer, soap, or wipes for your hands. You want to have a Ziploc baggie of some sort to store all the toilet paper, trash, or wet wipes, or whatever you're using. Use tampons. Some people don't really want to see it, so they can like wrap dark duct tape around that bag. It also makes it a little bit less flimsy. And finally, you can throw in some menstrual supplies like pads or tampons so you don't get caught off guard. Last but not least, as an all-inclusive first aid kit, you should have tampons and ibuprofen or Advil for people with periods. Anyone have any questions?
I had some questions about the menstrual cups. Do you need to sanitize them in between, like while you're on your period? So would that mean you have to have 2 cups to like switch them out and sanitize the other, or can you just keep using one for like the entirety of, I don't know.
It's recommended that you rinse it off at the very least with water, which, you know, if you've got a water bottle, that's not too hard. You do not need to sanitize it while you're on your period. I mean, typically your vagina is pretty clean, and it has like, it's got its own system for keeping itself clean. So as long as you're changing it and rinsing it less than every 12 hours, you should be pretty good. And I think different products, different menstrual cups themselves have different, like some are only leave-in for 8 hours and some are, you need to wash them more often. And so you really need to like understand your cup better, and you also need to understand your body. So if you're getting, you know, UTIs from it, maybe you need to be sterilizing it more. But for the most part, you shouldn't need to sterilize it while you're on your period.
I know a lot of people are like, I feel like typically I've read that you like boil it. So you would, in this case, you just like you would just sanitize it with UV rays.
Well, I mean, you can do either. So you can, some menstrual cups you can boil, some you can leave in the sun, some you can do both. So again, it's very much based on what the material is made of and what is recommended for the product that you specifically bought. But if you're on a camping trip, or a backpacking trip or a camping trip, I guess, you're probably going to be cooking food for yourself, which means that you've probably got some sort of pot and some sort of fire device, so you could boil it. And it's usually not a very long process. I think I don't want to say like 5 to 10 minutes. It's not like a super long boiling process. So, you know, if you don't like the idea of it hanging on your bag in the sun, you should be able to boil it, or, you know, come prepared, bring a pot, right?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned pads as being one of the ways to deal with menstruation. You said that you don't recommend pads though because they can lead to a lot of difficulties, or did I miss? I just wanted to see if you could clarify that.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I think it depends on the person and depends on which products you're using. Some people love pads and they would never ever touch a tampon with a 10-foot pole. So it's like, if you like, I'm not personally, I would never use a pad for backpacking because the constant movement makes your pad move all around your underwear and it's chafing the inside of your legs and maybe even like your pubic area.
Yeah.
And if you've got a super light period and you're using like one of those really thin ones, maybe it's not an issue, but I've always had very heavy periods, and so it's always been like if I had to use a pad, it was thick.
Okay.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, everything, honestly, everything's kind of a trial and error. So people that love pads should obviously try to use them, and if it just doesn't work out, then there's a lot of other options for them, thankfully.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Oh, if I had a question, I'm gonna wait till everybody else asks their questions, but after, can I ask you some like general questions I have about backpacking quickly?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I want to respect everyone's time. If you've got to go, you've got to go. My next workshop is on this coming Friday at 12 p.m. It's a lesson on homeopathy, why you should make your own teas. It'll include a couple recipes too. So thank you for coming. If you have more questions, comments, or concerns, I will be here. I'll talk to you, David. Bye, Caitlin.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Willem. I don't know if you're sticking around, Andrea, but thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, I would like some general backpacking knowledge as well. So,
yeah. Well, I've been backpacking for years. What's up?
Who's going first? Andrew, do you want to go first?
No, I just wanted to listen to your questions. Go ahead.
You wanted to listen to my questions. Oh, okay. All right. So my question is, these are mostly my girlfriend's questions because but okay, here it is. She wanted to know, what should we do if we get lost when we go backpacking?
Yeah, that's a great one. So typically the answer for an inexperienced backpacker is to stay where you are. So the thing with getting lost while backpacking, you need to always be prepared for the potential like occurrence of getting lost before you actually get lost. So before you leave town, you need to tell your best friend or your mom or whoever you trust, this is where I'm going. If I'm not back by this day, send search and rescue. Like, here's the search and rescue contact. Like, if you don't think that they would be able to find that number, give it to them. But yeah, so it's key to really prepare for that eventuality. Also, have do you have a iPhone or an Android, like a smartphone?
Yeah.
Download, there's a couple different apps out there. Gaia Maps, All Trails. I've got a couple of them. Like
I have All Trails.
Yeah, so there's a couple ones like that. Hiking Project, stuff like that. And it's basically, you have to find where you're going on one of those like companies' maps. And if you've got a GPS on your phone that functions, you can very easily use their maps. And especially if the trail you're going on, if they have that trail, you're pretty much golden. You shouldn't really get lost.
Oh, even if we're in the backcountry and there's no cell reception?
So the thing is, if you downloaded the maps and you don't need cell reception to have your location. That's a GPS satellite. Yeah.
What the hell? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so you should try that out in town before you go out and get lost. But turn your airplane mode on and turn your location on. So you won't have any connection, no internet, no cell, but you will have your location, and you should be able to use that. If you downloaded Google Maps, you should be able to use Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever.
What? Oh shit.
But Google Maps and Apple Maps rarely have backcountry trails, so I wouldn't recommend those unless you're going to be near places that have roads. I would use like the map companies, trail companies.
All right, sounds good. And then my other question was how do we wait, well, it was how to avoid animals? How do we not get attacked by animals?
Okay, well, the first thing you should know is animals, 99.9% of animals do not want to hurt you.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but you make some friends. They're more scared of you than you are of them because you're huge. You are, except to like a grizzly bear, you're a big creature. And
Yeah.
humans make a lot of noise, and we usually travel in groups of more than one. And, honestly, we're kind of like, in the animal kingdom, we're not like the safest things to be around.
Ooh, shoot,
But
yeah, that's true.
in the off chance that you do see an animal that isn't scared of you, the rule that Leave No Trace usually goes by is do not approach it. And if you hold your thumb out in front of you and you close your eye and you like look at that animal, so straight arm it and look at that animal, if your thumb doesn't fully cover it, you're too close to it, which means it can feel threatened. So the bigger the animal is, obviously the further you should be from it. A squirrel, unless it's got rabies, which it probably won't, it can be like, up near you. You still don't want to approach it. But basically, keep your food. If you're going in a place that has bears, that's one thing. If you're going in a place that has raccoons, that's another thing. But usually,
we're gonna be in bear country, so I think she was mostly, not worried. She doesn't want to go in bear country, but if we happen to be in a place where there are bears, what do we do to make sure that they don't eat us?
Yeah. So they won't eat you unless
they
you're
won't.
Unless you're going to grizzly bear country, which you'd have to go out of the state of California to get to.
Okay.
A black bear is not.
So black bears won't eat us?
If they found you dead, bleeding on the ground, they might eat you because you were food.
Okay.
But if you were alive, no, they'll eat your food though. Raccoons are a danger. That's funny. So there's bear. Actually, I just presented this last week, so I can send you a link to my workshop. But basically, you want a bear canister. That's kind of the number one rule, especially for beginners. I would not recommend any other thing except a bear can.
Poo. No, like throwing it over a tree and like hoisting it up or something like that.
The likelihood of you doing it wrong is like 98%, and that means the bear is going to get your food.
Oh, damn.
Not you personally, just people in general have no idea what they're doing. And bears are actually so intelligent, and they've got really good noses, and they've learned either from other bears or from personal experience that string there and that food there are related, and if they cut that, they get free food.
Oh, shoot. Okay, gotcha.
So don't hang it. Like, the bear will get food.
Okay, so bear canisters for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if AP, are you in Isla Vista right now?
No, we're in San Diego.
Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I don't know if AP is giving gear out, but they've got a bunch of cans.
Yeah, I know. I used it when we went to Sierra Nevada mountain range, like that area when we were like doing Mount Langley, and we had like a bunch of those like yellow canisters and stuff. But I think we were just gonna like see if we could rent something from REI or something like that, like because they have bear canisters there.
Yeah, you might also ask around, like friends and family.
None of our friends or family are like into like outdoorsy stuff though, so that's the thing. So, but yeah, we'll have to see. But my last question.
There's actually other. I don't know if I would do a DIY option. The thing with bear cans is they've had years and years of research behind them, real bears cannot open this. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
So it's not that they can't smell it; they just can't open the can.
They can't open it. Yeah, they can't even.
So they can still smell it.
Yeah. So my next thing was you should double bag everything that smells like anything. So any food, any toiletries. If you have like beverage powders or tea bags, if you have scented feminine products or lotion, all of that should be double bagged, and that should be put in the bear can and set at least 200 feet from your camp. You should
Okay.
also only cook at least 200 feet from your camp. If you spill
Oh,
food on your
shoot.
clothing, you should put that in your bear can. You know, I mean, it's like,
Oh, shoot.
not only,
Okay, I had no
and it's not
idea.
just to protect it from bears, although bears are your maybe scariest, biggest threat. But like Andrea was saying, sorry, is it
Raccoons.
Andrea or Andrea? Is that like a
Andrew.
I'm sorry. Andrew is a pun because I'm a kangaroo. My name is Andrea.
okay.
Sorry.
I felt bad if I was saying your name wrong, and I saw it. I was like, wait, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, raccoons. I mean, chipmunks. Anything. They will smell your food and they will desire it.
Okay.
If a bear, for whatever reason, didn't run away from you, black bears you do not play dead with, because then you are seen as prey. You do not run from them; they'll see you as prey. You want, if they are approaching you and they aren't leaving you alone when you try to back up slowly, you get big, you scream at them. If you have to, you throw rocks at them. You know, both of you should be right next to each other, like waving your arms, screaming, because that makes you a threat. And black bears,
okay.
but like, I have seen so many black bears in my life, and it's always like they look at you and they run. Like, they don't want to be.
Really?
Yeah, they're scared.
Are they cute?
I mean, they're not like Smokey the Bear, but yeah.
Oh, dang, okay.
They're kind of cute, I guess. Let's be honest, I'm a plant person, so animals, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's an animal.
Wait, a plant? So you find plants cute?
I'm obsessed with plants. I don't know that I find them cute, but.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so, okay, and then the last question that she had is, I think this is more of an anxious thought than like something, but but what do we do if we get to a water source and the water source is all dried up? Like, what is the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah, so.
Or is that something that we should be worried about?
Yes, it's something you should be worried about. There are places where you should be less worried about it than others. Like, if you're going out into Los Padres this time of year, you're not going to find any water. I would be shocked if you found water that wasn't like a disgusting pool of water with like a puddle with like dead animals in it. Like, that's, my friends have done it, and it doesn't rain down there. But if you're in Sierra Nevada, if you're in Yosemite, and you're going to places that have known year-round lakes, like big lakes, or year-round like rivers and streams, you should be much less worried. But if something you can do is you call ahead, ask the rangers, hey, is X pond and Y stream, are they running this time of year? And I mean, for the most part, if it's a big body of water, you don't have to worry, even though we're in a drought. The seasonally, this would probably be the like lowest amount of water.
Right now?
Well, it depends. Well, so the thing is, you have to consider there's snowy freezing season in which some of that water is becoming frozen. And then there's spring where it's still kind of frozen, but it's more like precipitation instead of snow, like water precipitation coming down. So that will like add flowing water. Oh, thanks for coming. And then there's also the dry season in which it's not raining, but it's so hot that all that ice is melting and then the streams are flowing, the biggest they get. And then there's the dry season where it's cooling down and there's not really any ice left to melt. So I think we're at the season where there's not much ice left to melt and it's not really raining, but year-round streams and year-round ponds should be totally fine. But call ahead.
Call ahead. No, yeah, that was a good, I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna make sure that we do that. Well, do you have any other questions? No? Okay. Well, that was a lot of questions.
Well, you've got my contact information, so if you did have another question, feel free to ask. If you want, I can send you I did, like, last week I did my presentation on bear safety, basically. So if you want a link to that,
Oh, yeah, no, I'd appreciate that because I definitely want to go to bear country, but I mean it's gonna take some convincing. Because I went to bear country. I think this year Nevada Mountain Range is bear country, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and we were also just in Payson, Arizona, and we didn't run into a black bear, but we ran into the black bear poop, so we kind of got scared a little bit because we were like on this like 10-mile hike, and it was just scary. Like we just thought that there was a bear, so I don't know. But hearing you say that they're like not really afraid of us is
they
definitely
are afraid of
reassuring.
us. They are
Oh,
afraid.
yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. They are afraid of us.
Yeah,
Yeah, is reassuring.
yeah. So the main goal is keep your food like
Hmm.
locked away. You either eating
Hmm.
it or it's in the container, because that's really what
Yeah.
they're after if they do approach you. And they'll usually approach your camp if they don't think you're there. And so if you're making
Okay.
noise, if you're like existing there at
Uh-huh.
camp, you should be totally fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I will send that to you. Is GroupMe okay, or do you want to send me your email? Because it's on
No,
YouTube.
GroupMe is totally fine. You can send it to me on GroupMe.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming. It was great to have lots of questions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you for all the information. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, I hope you
Have a good
enjoy the
trip.
rest of your day. Thank you. We will. We will. Bye.